So, the Enlightenment event in July, we're moving into holistic enlightenment. I'm going to tell you more about that in a minute, but first of all, I want to talk to you about why you might want to come this month. So, this month is very much for you if you have repeating patterns that just keep going round and round and round. If you're interested in deepening into the knowing of your spiritual nature, if you're interested in continuing to clear up those repeating patterns of human conditioning, and if you're open to whole different ways of doing that. What we've done so far in the Enlightenment event is that we've moved through month by month. First of all, in February, making it visible, which is all about seeing where in our life there is something to be enlightened in our experience. And then each month since then, we've moved through different focus points, clearing through the psychological channel, clearing through the emotional channel, the physical, and then the spiritual in June. And now, as we move into July, it's about modalities and approaches and techniques and tools which are not able to be categorized or which specifically go in one of those doorways. We're now looking at approaches which are holistic, which really cover all of those different doorways, but which also therefore are holistic in how they meet you and your whole system. Because there isn't really separate psychological system, emotional system, physical system, spiritual system. They've not ever really been separate, but they are really useful doorways for us to move through. And then sometimes we get to this point where it's like, well, I don't really know. I don't have a sense of there being a thought narrative, or I don't have a sense of if this is particularly emotional or physical. I can't distinguish, I can't differentiate, or maybe even you just don't want to. And you want something which you know is going to be all-encompassing, something that is going to meet and address your whole system with loving energy. And that is so much what we're doing this coming month. In fact, I was thinking about it because we've got Imogen Sita-Weber coming, who brings divine light energy transmissions. And then we've got Heather Eggington, who in her session is talking about lighting the fire within, the whole fire, the wholeness of that fire within. So we've got light and fire coming together in this month's series of workshops. And I really loved that because actually when we began this month, I said to Imogen and Heather, I was like, or before we began it, in preparation for it, I'd said, oh, I've really got this sense of the yin and the yang for this month, of the perfection of how those two come together and create that whole. How we are all both masculine and feminine energies. How we are all of the psychological, emotional, physical, spiritual. How none of this can be extricated or separated from each other. The completeness of that, the perfection of that, the both and. So I loved it when I realised that Imogen's bringing light and Heather's bringing fire, because it really brought that sense for me of this yin and yang, this beautiful meeting of both, the both and of all included. Because when we've included all of ourselves, our spiritual nature, all of our human self, instead of trying to reject or resist some of it, instead of trying to pretend we're just a person and not in fact an infinite spiritual being, whenever we're living in that kind of paradigm, we're going to not feel good. We're going to suffer. We're going to not feel like our fully aligned, amazing selves. Of course we are. Because we're like pushing half of our experience out of, out the door, trying to pretend it's not there, trying to pretend it's not me. And so of course that feels bad because it is you. You are whole already. You are the wholeness of all of that. And when we forget it, it feels bad. And that's the perfection of what we're doing this month. We're absolutely bringing it all into inclusion, as really we have been through the whole journey. Just as I say, with all the previous months, we've been going through specific doorways. Now we're bringing the whole thing into inclusion with modalities which are matching and mirroring that wholeness. Modalities which just can't be separated into one particular way or one particular thing that they're supporting the resolution of. Imogen and Heather will be meeting you as you are. What they bring to the world will be meeting you as you are, with everything in you as it is, and bringing that light, bringing that fire, bringing that all to you, so that you get to leave feeling that lightness in yourself, which is the truth of who you are. You know yourself to be that already. You'll leave feeling that wholeness. You'll leave feeling that fire lit from within, ready to go and be your amazingly aligned self, clear and free of what isn't truly a problem. So if you're up for this, if you want to come and join us and deep dive in July, we'll be there, me and Imogen and Heather. I kick it off on the 3rd of July with an opening call. Imogen the week later, so that must be the 10th. Heather the week after that on the 17th. And then a week later in the final week of the month, we have a Q&A call with all three of us together. And then to absolutely round it off with a bow on the top, Imogen's going to do a final energy transmission to close out the month of July completely and fully, so that the whole thing is integrated and included and processed for you in your system in the way that it needs to be for you in that moment. So do come, ask any questions you've got. Let us know anything that you're not sure of, anything that's not clear. You've got 3 payment options, so you just pick the payment level that feels good for you. There isn't a case of, oh, if you get this option, if you pay that amount, you get this, and if you pay that amount, you don't get that. All payment levels get the same access. It's purely a case of you choosing the one that aligns most for you. But bonus, there is a bonus. If you're one of the first 10 to book this month who are paying either 177 or 333, you get the chance of a private one-to-one session with the expert of your choice. So if you are in the budget range of 177 or 333, and you're one of the first 10 to book this month, you will get that chance to have a private session, private one-to-one session, which with any of the 13 of us who have been leading this program since February. As I say, drop any questions, message, email, social media, wherever you find me, wherever you find this. Drop your questions through. I'd love to help answer anything that you're unsure of. And I really, really look forward to meeting you there for July. Lots of love.